Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. It is Brian, and it's a special Thursday stream from me. Uh, Plain fact of the matter is, our pod gets here tomorrow. Shh. Let me see. Let me see where it is with regards to that. No. Okay. Yeah, it's been 10 miles away from us since last Friday. So we're hoping that within the next day or two, it will be here. When that happens, I won't be able to stop on a Friday and start streaming because my wife she likes to get unpacked. So we'll have about 150 boxes to unpack and a bunch of shit that we got to get out of a pod, which we got to get that out of the pod because we only have like 3 days to depack the pod. But we have a ton of stuff some of the stuff we haven't seen for months, which after the depodifying of the system or the packing system and seeing how damaged our goods are, cross fingers, we'll begin the second purge. So if you live in the San Diego area, I might have a yard sale. So there you go. There's a lot of stuff in my old office. I have a much smaller and less containerized. I have less containers in this office than I had in my previous office. So I'm really trying to go for the more minimal look. Maybe a couple pieces of furniture, but nothing like what I had before. With the idea that I will not be getting as much shit as I had before. So. Matter of fact, if I had kept my office the way I had these two big, like wooden things, which I don't. Let me see. Oh no, I've already zoomed out. There was like two wooden cabinets here on this wall that went out to about, so yeah. Anyway, about 2 feet, and there was one on the other side too. Apparently, one of the people who lived here had a server rack or something. It's fairly heavy hardware kit out here. So when I first got here and I realized that this was going to be the area designated as my office, I realized those are ugly and I need to get them out. Hey, Lady P. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming on, Lady P. I did not see your chat until just now. No, nothing. No, Lady P. I have AirTags in my pod. I know within a good 100 yards or whatever, the AirTags have actually been quite useful. I have actually 2 of them in the pod, which I didn't realize I'd had. So sometimes when I was traveling, they actually traveled through NorCal quite quickly. But yeah, they're 10 miles away from me, and you know where the AirTags are, not where the pod is necessarily. That's fair. Hey, Walt, how you doing? Yeah, that is a fair point. And right now, you're making my ass sweat there, Lady P, with your thoughts that something has happened. So they give you a key. Because it's secure. You got a key lock and everything, so that makes it secure, right? Yeah. Thanks, Lady P. You just it's getting warm in here now. I'm just hyperventilating a little bit. Yeah, boy, you just set my ass on fire there, Lady P. Thanks so much for that. I'm almost completely assured that my stuff will be there. Yeah. It's not fancy. So here, y'all can rake that if you want to, but that's what it looks like right there. So it's one of those what do they call those? The clasp with a. Yeah, it's not fancy. It's there's fair few amount of bits on that. I could probably pick that lock. I'm probably going to keep that lock because I do have a set of lock picks. I'll probably just pick that lock while I'm here. But yeah, actually, I believe it is a modified. It looks very much like a cabinet key. It is very much security by obscurity. Yeah, so it is what it is. We're hoping that the in shipment travel didn't cause it to have any issues. So we'll see what happens. So before we get started, thanks, Lady P. I'm glad you're here. I know probably the 4th of July wasn't good for you or your fur babies, and it's about 125 degrees in NorCal there. So hey, Digital Warhead, thank you so much. Appreciate you. In addition to subscribing for another month, Digital Warhead, I'd like to thank Jay Beal, who we had on talking about Kubernetes last week. He also subscribed. So, he didn't have to do that, but he did it because he's awesome. And he was a Patreon supporter for a while of the podcast for a good long while. So it's very much appreciated for Jay. Flaragan, Flaregan, followed us as well. So very much appreciated that we get the support that we get. So cool, Digital Warhead. I'm glad you got a notification this time. I'm not sure what happened before. So let me see. What do I want to talk about? Oh, yes. I've been remiss in my duties recently as a good. Oh, hell. Really? There it is. Okay. So we are sponsored by Blumera. I have a duty. So we are sponsored by Blumera. I have been remiss in mentioning it because I had the copy sitting on my other computer. So there is blumera.com/break. If you click on that link and it loads the page, we would love that because it shows link engagement for our followers, which some companies like to see. Hey, how many times did people click on the link and go to the website? I can guarantee you there's only there's a good number of JavaScript on there, but a lot of it looks like CDNs like Cloudflare and those. So if you click on that and then you can they're not duty. Exactly, Lady P. I'm sure Ms. Berlin will enjoy the rousing recommendation by Lady P. Blumera. They're not duty. And where in the hell? Okay, there I am. Oh my God, I am. Okay, so yeah, I've had some issues apparently with my UI. I've updated OBS. I think was the big deal. It's 29.1.3. Okay, so I upgraded to 29.1.3 from 29.0. God knows what. Before we continue, Blumera, they have an XDR platform. They highlight that it's easy to use. They handle the heavy lifting of parsing, detection testing, tuning the rules, no additional infrastructure or security skills required. Deploy it in minutes with cloud-based integrations with M365 Duo, AWS, and more. They have a unique approach to detections, send you real-time alerts under a minute, which actually, that's not bad. Automated response features and guided playbooks to stop attacks before they begin, and advanced reporting and dashboards. Dashboards. If you're management, that must make you go, "Ooh, yes, I love me some dashboards." Efficient use of resources, of course, all-in-one open XDR platform, a dedicated onboarding and account assistance. Security review rules are developed and deployed automatically by our team. Our team includes Miss Berlin, Amanda Berlin, who works there as one of the detection engineers. So yes, a single pane of glass. It's definitely a silver bullet, Lady P. You definitely want to, have your 8 nines of availability, or automate your threat hunting and managing detections and everything. So I don't have the exact word and verbiage that they told me to put up, but I assume that showing their website with everything on their, their XDR platform that they talk about would suffice. You can actually request a demo as well if you want to go first name, last name, company email, phone number, if you'd like to do that as well. If you put in a good word with me, I'll send you over to Miss Berlin. Miss Berlin can set up a demo for you, so you're not, if you want somebody a little more rapport with. So there you go. We'll get you hooked up with that. So they also have a white paper here. if you want to read about their standalone SIEM and EDR. So you can go check that out. So I think I've satisfied the sponsorship portion of this show. And so we will continue on. So, we're also streaming on YouTube as well. So there you go, streaming on the YouTubes. Let me see. So, interesting vulnerabilities today that I found online. There's one called Stackerot, not to be confused with Kakarot, which was a what in the hell is going on with my webs? Oh, gods, what in? Okay, seriously. I apologize for the awfulness of my UI here today. It is just hot garbage. Yes, Berlining down security. Digital Warhead, good question because as I know, you can subscribe to our channel, which is you can go to youtube.com/C/BDS podcast. And you can go to that and you can subscribe there, but it doesn't cost you anything. So, I mean, yeah, we're streaming right now, so you can see the streams that are happening. We're streaming right now, as a matter of fact, live. So, you can subscribe to that. You can, get access to all of those items, 486 videos. If you're looking for CPEs, that's also something valid you can do with these. Our Blue Mirror interview with Bill Rayer's on here. Here's our Jay Beal discussion. I don't know what's up with Twitch, but when I simulcast this, they show up as live streams for some. It's only if you export it, it shows up as a video on your... What the hell is going on here with this one? Okay. You can see the ones I did a month ago when I was at the house and there was nothing here. I was literally in a hammock. I'm such an idiot. I regret those. But yeah, so if you export them from Twitch, they become videos. And if you do live streams, then they become literal streams. So you can go and check those out. And chat doesn't show up here, so it's like talking to myself. That's really weird because I see. So what I damn your hide. Okay, click on me. I want to click on me. So yeah, I don't see anything here on the chat. That's really weird. Hello. It says, top chat. Let me see. Live chat. There we go. All messages are visible. Interesting. Yeah, I don't. There you go. Yin Yang. I'm assuming that's Ms. Lady P. I'm already subscribed like that on YouTube, but there's no paid subscription, which added perks. Well, to be fair, Digital Warhead, there's no added perks to subscribe on Twitch, except you get access to the VODs as well. So, that's a good question. Using YouTube versus Twitch, I think the biggest thing for YouTube is that it allows you. They don't care what you're doing with your content, whereas I'm starting to understand that Twitch is really like, if you're on Twitch, you're on Twitch. We're trying to figure that out. Twitch, you get ad-free VODs and emotes. Yeah, you do get that. I'm sure there's plugins and stuff for YouTube as well. I see hello, Yin and Yang. Hello, Yin, Yang. There. Sorry, I'm learning how to use this internet thing, so I apologize to the viewer that just dropped off. So, so I had to go from like top comment, top chat to live chat. So that was really weird. I pay for YouTube Premium, so no ads. I actually pay for YouTube TV, but I haven't quite figured out. I have YouTube TV for my TV because I don't have cable anymore, and I don't know why I don't get like YouTube Premium on top of the TV portion of it. It just seems kind of wrong. So, I have yet to do that. course, I have a plugin in my browser that bypasses ads for YouTube. So when I'm listening to my lo-fi chill, I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I have to understand how to monetize YouTube other than having ads inserted, because that would be really annoying. And so yeah. So there's a vulnerability called StackRot per Luigi Paganini. As a vulnerability in Linux kernel can be exploited to gain elevated privileges on a target system. Now, I haven't read this article. As most of you know, when I read these articles, it's the first time I'm reading these. So it's a vulnerability. It was version 6.1 through 6.4 of the Linux kernel. It is tracked as 2023 3269. So I will pop that. Let me put it into both chats. YouTube gets a lot more emoticons. Oh, that'd be sweet. What I need to do is once we get everything straightened out and I get everything packed out here and I get less echoiness in my office, which is another thing I have to investigate. I have to put a rug down. I think a rug will help out quite a bit. And also get some shit on the wall so that it absorbs some sound. I need to work with Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher, and a select group of people who I trust, like Lady P and Digital Warhead and some of the regulars here, to understand maybe a pros and cons kind of thing of moving off of Twitch. If it gets to the point where, one day I just show up and they're like, oh no, we've suspended your account, then I may be like, oh crap, what are we going to do? So... Wait, what am I? What sucker for what? Sucker for what? Rugs? I like a nice rug. It really brings the room together. Is what I understand. Oh, that's okay, Lady P. It just means you're an excellent social engineer. Yeah, Digital Warhead. See, yeah, exactly. We've got a scant few folks that come in regularly that I'd like to go, hey, I care about your input because you're here all the time, like Walt and a couple of other folks. So we can figure out what you would do or what you'd like to see. So here, YouTube gets a lot more. Oh, there you go. YouTube gets a lot more emoticon. Oh crap! I can't even right now. Come on, man. There we go. Control C and. So my house is of a design where the downstairs funnels a lot of wind up and my windows are open here. YouTube is super delayed. Yeah, I have it on near real time. I'm assuming that's YouTube is super delayed. I'm assuming you're copying and pasting that in. So, my window in my office is open and my doors are shut because everything's echoey and you can hear everything in the house. So when I'm listening to music in my office, you can hear it throughout the house. Oh yeah. So I shut the doors and the doors like bang because there's a draft coming into the house up into the second floor and out my window here. So you might hear a tang, tang, tang. You might hear a bang, 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 bang. That's my doors because they slide now. They don't shut. So anyway, back to our elevated privileges. So this marks the first instance where a UAFBR, use after free RCU bug. Oh, interesting. Use after free RCU bug. That is interesting. Okay. Hopefully they will explain that. Flaw was introduced with the Linux kernel in 6.1 due to the migration to maple trees. Okay. Maple trees are RCU. Okay, so. Oh, gods, I love it. So they're explaining what maple trees are. They don't explain what RCUs are. So anybody reading this is like, oh, yes, maple trees, they're RCU safe. What's an RCU? So let's go look at what an RCU is. Not Redwood Credit Union. Okay. Maple trees. RCU maple trees. God damn it. Okay. Oh, here we go. Linux kernel archive. So according to kernel.org, kernel.org. Place is just haunted. Great. So I need like them fake ass ghost hunters to come in here and tell me my house is scurred. All right. So let me see. FRCU. Okay. RCU. Okay. RCU safe mode of operation. Y'all are just killing me here. Uses an RCU. Okay, great. What are RCUs? Please fucking tell me what an RCU is. Well, at least they've mentioned it a couple of hundred times in the document here. I love when people suggest things or make, they talk about acronyms, but they don't, the first time you use it, you're supposed to say what it is. And they don't do that. So there we go. Okay. All right. So in this article, because it's probably more well written, it is a read copy update. RCU is read copy update. And we can pop that in here. There we go. A maple tree is a generic structure that can be used in different kernel subsystems. The first usage is replacing the RB trees and linking lists to manage VMAs. Okay. VMAs, which are virtual memory areas. Okay, so virtual memory areas are currently stored in a modified red-black tree. Okay, so that's what the RB trees are. And trees are these things. Okay, so trees want a radix tree. The kernel contains an implementation of a data structure known as a red-black tree. These trees, known as RB trees within the kernel, are a form of semi-balanced binary tree. Each node in the tree contains a value and up to 2 children. The node's value will be greater than that of all children in the left child branch, less than that of all the children in the right branch. Thus, it is possible to serialize a red-black tree by performing a depth-first left-to-right traversal. Thank you, Lady P. So Lady P saves the day by saying, RCU works by maintaining multiple versions of an object and ensuring that it is safe to reclaim the old version of an object before doing so. It is typically used to handle cases where there are many readers but few writers, as it allows readers to proceed with no synchronization overhead. Okay. RCU is a synchronization mechanism used in computing, particularly in the Linux kernel, that allows for concurrent reading and writing to data structures. It provides a way for readers to access data without using locks while ensuring that they always see a consistent view of the data. Oh, okay. Well, that's better. That's a little more understandable. I guess in old-timey days before trees were a thing, when you're writing something, you couldn't do any kind of sequential operation to it. And I'm sure if I said something wrong there, then somebody will explain that I'm wrong on that. But so if you're writing something, you can only write. If you can read, you can only read. So when they brought the kernel stuff in, and when they brought in the trees, it was like, now I can do more than one thing. So you're not locked in that respect. So we had locks, and that led to race conditions. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so now they've gone from red-black to something called maple because people are so clever that Digital Warhead. I could barely read what was coming from LWN and from kernel.org and all that shite. So yeah, we would lock a file, handle, perform an operation, and then release it. Before locks, we had race conditions. That would make sense, yeah, because Cool. Yeah. So there you go. Thanks, Lady P, for the reference there, and the more simple, the simplification of the definition without being too simple. So yeah. So going back to the reason why I was asking that question. So apparently there's a use after free in read copy update vulnerability. So use after free by RCU. Oh wow! So they're taking acronyms and they're getting rid of some of the acronymy bits, even without the presence of config, preempt, and so these are different variables in the environment that can be set or unset in this case. So they say even without the presence of these, this bug is possible. Notably, this exploit has been successfully demonstrated in the environment provided by the Google KCTF VRP. Oh, okay. Vulnerability was disclosed on June 15th, 2025. So here's the original escalation bits. There we go. Like Stackrot. Every time I say Stackrot, I think Kakarot from Dragon Ball. Sorry about that. Kakarot. Anyway. Okay. So here's Maple Trees for those of you who care. The Maple Trees, did I put that one in already? Yes, I did. Okay. You had one job. The whole purpose of RCUs is not to allow things like use after free. Look, you know, Lady P, mistakes were made on both sides. You know, we wanted, you know, wasn't cool enough, so now we have to have yet another, you know, thing. You know, somebody wants maybe red black trees aren't as performant as we think they are. So maybe when your memory safety systems have memory safety flaws, why am I not just programming in C? Yeah, that's a good reason. So yeah, there's a whole discussion here. This is an early disclosure of Stackrot in compliance with the policy of Linux distro list. All the essential details have been provided here with complete exploit code and a comprehensive write-up. Ooh, there you go. So check that shite out. Yeah, oh wow, okay, so the vulnerability has been in since 6.1. Wow, okay. So somebody also didn't do their proper checks on these things because 6.1, this was introduced when Maple Trees were brand freaking new. So something happened where they didn't, I don't know how you would threat model something like this. But you would think, you know, hey, use after free bugs are a thing. Why don't we check and make sure that these aren't an issue? So when mmap system call is utilized to establish a memory mapping, the kernel generates a structure called a VM area struct to represent the corresponding VMA or virtual memory area. This structure stores various information, including flags, properties, and other pertinent details related to the mapping. Okay. And then there's, you got some assembly code, you got some, cool stuff here. It's got some bits. Subsequently, when the kernel encounters page faults or other memory-related system calls, it requires fast lookup of the VMA solely based on the address. Previously, the VMAs were managed using red-black trees. However, starting with 6.1 kernel, the migration to Maple Trees took place. Maple Trees, blah, blah, apparently they're not RCU safe, if that's the case. They're not read copy update. Nonetheless, their intricate nature adds complexity to the code base and introduces the vulnerability. So yeah, there you go. It's a pretty good write-up. Go check that. At first blush, I guess this could be used as a VM escape too. Yeah, I would imagine that's not good there, Lady P. That be able to escape using VMs, escaping VMs is not a good thing. Okay, so I reported this vulnerability to the Linux kernel team. Following that, the process of addressing this bug was led by Linus. Given its complexity, it took 2 weeks to develop a set of patches that received consensus. On 28 June, during the merge window for 6.5, the fix was merged into Linus's tree. Linus provided a comprehensive merge message to elucidate patch series from a technical perspective. Okay. It's actually something we technically should have done, but we didn't strictly need it. We were being lazy. Opportunistic sounds so much better, doesn't it? About things, and had this hack in place where we would extend the stack VMA in place without doing the proper locking. Ooh. And it worked fine. We just needed to change VM start and together some special ad hoc locking using a non-VMA. That is, all was fine until until this guy or this person pointed out that now that the VMA layout uses maple trees, we really don't just change VM start and VM end anymore, and the locking is really broken. Oops. Well, oops, I guess is as good as a sorry, I think. So, you can go read the kernel org commit as well if you would like to read the entire report from Linus. There you go. And yeah, so if you want to get deep in and learn the deep magic, you can see all the, wow, that's a lot of changes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, there's quite a few changes made here. 49 files changed, 439 insertions, 468 deletions. Wow. So yeah, here's all the diffs and everything. So you can go in and look and see what they pulled out versus what they put in. Interesting. Interesting. Well, new technology being what it is, you're going to have bad things happen. So looks like they completely rewrote the memory mapping function. Well, Lady P, I'm sure that's okay. Nothing bad's going to happen. So yeah, that was an interesting bug. Interesting info there. So I don't know if you jumped on the latest bandwagon, but I did because one, I didn't need to find somebody with an invite, but there's a new social media network in town called Threads. I am on it if you want to go check it out. So see if Threads social media. That's a pretty serious flaw. That's what I'd call a 10 if there ever was one. Maybe. Wait, did they? The original was what they said it was a 7.8, right? So I'm wondering why they considered it only 7.8. Copy. Maybe there's maybe it's in difficulty or something like that. So let's go see what Red Hat says. No remote, maybe. It did say local priv-esc, so score breakdown. Here we go. So 7.8, it is attack vectors local. Complexity is high. Okay, so the complexity is high. That probably set it down a little bit. If complexity was low, it'd probably be closer to a 9 or a 10. Privileges required are low, so you basically you can be any user on the system. No user interaction is required, so that probably jumped it up a little bit. Scope is changed. I'm still confused about the scope bit. And then of course CIA is high on all three. So that would explain why they labeled it thus on the system. So if it wasn't owned by Meta, I'd consider it, but since it is, I'm not really interested. Yeah. Yeah, digital. I've had a Facebook account. I'm not quitting any social media. I don't know why people think they can quit social media. You can stop using Twitter, sure. I haven't stopped using Twitter. I have a Mastodon account. I have a Blue Sky account thanks to Noid, Mr. Harden, who gave me an invite one day because I was like, I'm not cool like everyone else. I didn't get an account. I got on Blue Sky, but again, it's like I don't like the walled garden bits. Change scope generally indicates a more severe vulnerability because the potential for damage or unauthorized access is greater. Yeah, I've never quite understood the whole scope bit in CVSS 3. Yeah, it's an important property captured by CVSS 3 is, where is it? An important property captured by version 3 is the ability for a vulnerability in one software component to impact resources beyond its means or privilege. This consequence is represented by the metric authorization scope, or simply scope. Formally, scope refers to a collection of privileges defined by computing authority when granting access to computing resources, files, CPU, memory, etc. These privileges are assigned based on some method of ID and authorization. In some cases, the authorization may be simple or loosely controlled based upon predefined rules or standards. For example, in the case of Ethernet traffic sent to a network switch, the switch accepts traffic that arrives on its port and is an authority that controls the traffic flow to other switch ports. So yeah, scope change would not occur with a vulnerability in Microsoft Word that allows the attacker to compromise all system files, because the same authority enforces privileges of the user's instance of Word and the host's system files. The scope, yeah, the base score is greater when the scope change has occurred. So yeah. So when it's changed, in this case, an exploited vulnerability can affect resources beyond the authorization privileges intended by the vulnerable component. All right, so in this case, they can use after free bugs. So anything like an RCE or something like that would exceed the authorization. So in this case, it allows the ability to run code outside of the initial bits. The Volt impact isn't limited to the security authority of the vulnerable component and can affect opponents out. Yeah. So yeah, when scope is authorization scope. So if you could only affect, well, I mean, anything in the kernel is going to change the scope anyway. But if it was like, I'd imagine it's something like an FTP client. If you could only affect the FTP client and make the FTP client do something, and only in that program, then that would be an unchanged kind of thing. But if you can use an FTP client to do an RCE on the system, then that would be a changed scope in this case, because you've exceeded the control of the original program to basically laterally move into the system in a different space, right? That's anything. I would imagine RCE would be a scoped change, because you could exceed the authorization area. Right. Does it propagate? Can you move through to other systems or other areas of the system outside of that? Yeah. So first.org. Okay. Doink. There's that. And let me turn off my Discord here. All right. There we go. Don't know why that's on. And there. Okay, move the YouTube down here. There we go. All right, let me make sure everything's still pretty on me. Okay, there we go. God damn. Okay. There we go. All right. I've been trying Hacker News since Reddit shut down third-party apps. Yeah, Digital Warhead. Again with the third-party apps. I didn't even know there were third-party apps that Reddit users could use. I've only used Reddit.com or the website on my phone or the official app. I use TweetDeck for Twitter, which they changed the UI on it. I'm not thrilled because it was the one that they were working on before. But I have fewer Twitter handles to deal with now that I got rid of CSEC East and gave that over to Matt and Ted. So I really only have my own and BreakSec. So at one time I had like 5. So getting rid of my InfoSec Campout, InfoSec Education Foundation, and CSEC East, I've gotten rid of 3 Twitter handles. So I only have 2 that I have to worry about. So it's not a huge deal. I'm too old for TikTok. Too busy. Well, Lady P, have I got a social network for you? No, I'm just kidding. It's called Brown Bag. No, I'm just kidding. I joined it because one, I was glad that it wasn't yet another walled garden. There were so many out there that's like, oh yeah, you can join this super secret cool club, but you got to have an invite first. And I was like, that kind of sucks. I do have Mastodon. I actually find a good bunch of content on there, as we've seen before. There are some hot takes on there. I still don't follow people. I still think it's better to follow hashtags. One of the things that I didn't like about Twitter there at the end was all the hero worship that everybody had. People are following, I stopped following people with more than 10,000 followers on Twitter. Your audio is now seconds delayed. Oh, shit. I don't know why. I'm going to minimize that. Is it like I'm a bad, dubbed movie like Godzilla or something where you see the audio and then you see my face? Happened when you pulled up Mastodon. Really? Okay, well, let's get rid of the Mastodons then. Okay. Let me just give it a second and we'll let everything settle. It's like a 3-second delay. Great. That was really weird. Okay, I'm seeing it on OBS as well. Yeah, I'm seeing that. Yeah, show must go on. Just roll with it. Apologies for the audio delay. Apparently, my audio likes to delay itself. So, man, that's going to bug. Okay. So, yeah, there was also 3 Android security updates that occurred. I'm going to kill my camera. That way it will look like there's no delay. So if you can't see me, that's because I have an audio issue, which I don't know why that's happening. So we have 3 vulnerabilities that came out today on Android. So Melonhead saw you pull up Mastodon and destroyed this. Melonhead, that's a new one. I haven't seen that one before. So yeah, there's a medium severity vulnerability. There's a memory leak flaw in ARM Mali GPU driver for Samsung devices. So if you have a Samsung device, you have at least 1 vulnerability. 2 actually, because ARM Mali GPU driver. So there's a high severity information disclosure and root privilege escalation flaw. There's an open source graphic library used in Chrome. And then the most severe vulnerability is a remote code exec flaw in Android system component affecting all versions of Android 11, 12, and 13. Google claims that exploiting this could lead to remote code execution with no user interaction. Let's go see if that's available. Okay, bulletin, multiple vulnerabilities in the framework. So that is check 21.250. That is not the right one, is it? Oh, yeah, here it is. Could allow for remote code execution. So 21.36 and 21.250. Running Graphene, it checks for security updates a couple times a day. All this stuff was patched to my phone days ago. No waiting around for quarterly patches. Oh, that's interesting. I can't use Graphene. Well, I mean, so if it doesn't require user interaction, that means somebody could send like a text message to somebody potentially and crash the system. Not limited to smartphones, tablets, and watches. Successful exploit of these severe could allow for privesc, depending on the privileges associated with the exploited component. An attacker could then install programs, view, change, delete data, create new accounts with full rights. Let me see. Details. Yeah, that's the problem I have with NVD and NIST and them. They just don't have anything, and yet they end up on the front page of Google. So I would love to be able to go, yeah, this is garbage. So yeah, remove this. Um, it's outdated. No, I can't do that. Boy, talk about being able to poison search results, huh? Look at that. I could remove that result and say that it's not proper. So it doesn't reflect what's currently on the page. Oof. Well, that would be rough for NVD if you had enough people doing that. Security week. So there's no real good write-up. It just said, people are just parroting exactly what was going on there. Come on. Here we go. 21,250. Yeah. Android's starting to feel like a lot like Oracle with their Java updates, where you don't get any good information. You just get, oh, please refer to the security bulletin. And it's like, oh, very, very important. It's almost like, like when Microsoft went through its, they tell you something without really telling you anything. Just, patch this because you got to trust us because it's really, really bad and we can't really tell you. So you've got, here's 21,250 with the references. No real information in these at all that you can use for actionable things or any kind of, So yeah, it is what it is. So expect updates. Unfortunately, I just got my updates for the month of July this month, so we'll have to wait another month and hope that somebody doesn't figure out how to weaponize getting RCE on a bunch of devices, including Samsung. Oh, my. Lady P, I appreciate your flex. I do. I don't, yeah. I can't run graphene. I have 145. Yeah, I have, my last one was in July too. I'm just looking at my phone right now to see when the update was for this. System update, Android 13. Yeah, June 5th. Oh, check for update. Come on, give me an update, give me an update. Oh, I'm getting an update. Oh, look at that. I wonder if it made it into the patch in time. I have a Pixel, so I'm hoping mine is a little faster than, say, everyone else's. But yeah, I'm preparing a system update for my shite right now. So, red black trees. That's a little bit more than I want to learn. Social media threads. Yes. What is this? So yeah, I'm preparing a system update. Okay, so I'll be getting some kind of system update here in the next few minutes. All right, so patch your stuff if you can. Otherwise, complain to your cell phone manufacturer. I have a 7 Pro with graphene, but Google's updates are faster than carriers if you're running Google Android. Yeah, I have a 6, and my daughter has a 7, I think. Battery too low or in power saving mode. Okay, yes, I do have power saver on. There we go. Update, damn you, update. So, all right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. I did look at some Rust stuff. This is another one I found interesting. The Rust stuff in a second. I actually found this one as well. Yeah, I had no... Installation will continue when device isn't being used. Okay, great. Refresh. That's the other thing that bugs me on these things. You get an email and it automatically says, hey, I'm not going to do anything. But I do like the pixels. EV charger hacking poses a catastrophic risk. Vulnerabilities in electric vehicle charging stations and lack of broad standards threaten drivers in the power grid. There's been a lot made out of the last couple of weeks where I believe Ford is going to be using the NACS. So Ford EV customers are going to gain access to 1,200 Tesla superchargers, or 12,000 Tesla superchargers, because they're going to use what's called the NACS, the North American Charging Standard, which is basically the Tesla charger connector, eliminating the need for an adapter to access superchargers by 2025. For me, that's great. Because that's going to make, add the power of Ford to the infrastructure. I have tried using CCS chargers. I've tried using the EVgo, the Electrify Americas. I've tried all of those. I have had so many problems with CCS chargers. The CHAdeMO adapter works fairly well on Tesla, but the CCS and the 1772s, and it's just the payment system that's really the pain in the ass. I mean, I can pull my car up if I get, so all 10 people who bought electric Fords. In the San Diego area here, at least, Lady P, there's a number of Teslas in my neighborhood. Weird, because I live in Mira Mesa, which is, tech heavy, near biotech and a lot of genetic folks and Qualcomm in those areas. There are more than a few Priuses, and I saw on my regular walks, I've seen at least a half dozen Ford Lightnings, the Lightning trucks, which actually was like, wow, if I, was a truck fan, I'd be all in on that. Yeah, the F-150 Lightnings, and then the Mustang Mach-E's, I've only seen a handful of those. I like the charger. If I pull into a Tesla supercharger, I plug in, and it's done, right? If I go to EVgo or I go to Electrify America or ChargePoint or Blink or any of those other ones, it's like I have to position my car just so. There's a CHAdeMO adapter on one, and there's a 1772 charger on another. So I've got Gen 2 charging or Gen 1 charging, which is super slow or somewhat moderately fast. The tap to pay doesn't work, or the system is out of order anyway. It's just god awful experience. And I don't know how people who have charging EV to charge would, I can understand the range anxiety coming from a Tesla point of view, but I mean, you've got 20 miles on your charger, and it's like you go to one of those non-Tesla ones, and it's hot garbage. It's luck of the draw. You have to hope that it's working or what have you. So it's good that they're getting E-Transit combined charging system. I actually hacked my Tesla to put CCS in it because I was like, oh, it would be good. And then it looks like everybody's going to be using NACS anyway because it's just an easier port. But anyway, getting back to the hacking thing, this person, let me see, Kia. Okay, so he wasn't using a Tesla supercharger. It was Bank of Fast Chargers near Terre Haute, Indiana. Okay. So somebody, put a political picture with President Biden up in there saying, I did that, meme kind of thing. So they've identified sprawling vulnerabilities in internet-connected home and public charging hardware. The one thing I found interesting about the charging systems is that it's very much like an Ethernet connector or like USB 4, right? You plug it in and is there roadside assistance for electric vehicles? Like, will someone come out and give you a charge boost to get to the next charger? I have seen, what was that? Somebody did a video, Toad charged battery. Yeah, here you go. So I would highly not recommend this, but I'm going to turn the audio off here. So this person apparently tow charged his Tesla and used the regenerative braking for 25 miles to charge his battery back up, which you can do. It has regenerative braking on the system. I don't know who this guy is. He's, doesn't look like. It's an interesting UI. I haven't seen that. I don't have an S either, so that's the thing. So yeah, somebody tows him for 15 minutes straight, and it'll recharge your battery to a certain amount. My guess is you would get a tow truck. The tow truck would set up some kind of charge so that you could charge your battery up. But it does have a flat towing will regen. Yeah. Hey Bonsai, how you doing? Hey Ted. So yeah, it would. You get some time back. So town point on the front isn't the tow point on the isn't a tow point, but a tie down. Oh, yeah. So it would work if I think you still have a dual motor. You might still get some charge back on that. Yeah, that would not be my first. Okay, well you're using a BMW to wow. Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna run the whole video, but yeah, you definitely want to be careful. Hey, you definitely want to be careful trying to tow your Tesla. I don't think they suggest that is a thing. So, um, but yeah, you could regenerate your battery if you needed to. But anyway, so the EV charger standards, they haven't been established yet. Tesla kind of went their own way, and everyone else was like, "Oh, we're using 1772, and we're using CCS1 and CCS2 and CHAdeMO and 15 other systems," and nobody wanted to build, like Sony and I don't forget who created the Blu-ray and the HD DVD versions, but right, Ford Lightning, yeah. Ioniq 6 is also another one of those that has charging like that. You can use it for like 120 charging. One reason I wanted the Ioniq 6 in that case was because if the power went out in my house, I could plug 120 into it and let it go. At least run my internet or run whatever if I needed to. But we're going to get solar anyway, so it won't make any difference. Teslas don't have the ability to put back into the system. So, I do have a cigarette lighter charge that I could use, but I can't pull the 96 kilowatts out of my battery and use it elsewhere. But so yeah, they're doing some pen test partners. Been 18 months. Did several EV charger models over. Yeah, Microsoft. I didn't know Microsoft was HD DVD. Okay, I still think that the reason Blu-ray won because Blu-ray sounds sexier than HD DVD. Even though HD DVD was probably a superior technology, Sony probably had deeper pockets, and Blu-ray was a snappier name. So I think it all came down to marketing at that point. It's not about your charger. Everyone's charger is the same. I have a ChargePoint charger that's in our pod right now that I could use at home. It's an L2 charger, but I don't have a plug-in yet. But yeah, Electrify America declined an interview request with regard to the issues Malcolm and Kilowatts documented. Octavio Navarro wrote in an email the incidents were isolated and the fixes were quickly deployed. Electrify America is constantly monitoring and reinforcing measures. Security and privacy very important to us. Yada yada yada. ChargePoint and other plugging gaps in less than 24 hours. One company created a new hole while trying to patch the old one. Wow. Yeah. So it's gonna be huge. Yeah. 7.5 billion to expand electric vehicle charging, and you always have companies building their own standards until everyone realizes, oh crap, we've done screwed the pooch, and like Apple and Android, lightning cables were the thing for the longest time. So, anywho, yeah. So we're probably gonna see more discussion about this. Once we're already seeing it, but I think that's Electrify America. Okay. I've had the couple times I've tried CCS2 charging with my Tesla, it's been touch and go. I tried one Electrify America and it didn't work because the tap to pay wouldn't work or it wouldn't make the protocol handshake with the adapter. And then I tried another one and it worked. So you can't have that kind of usability issue. It has to work 100% of the time, every time. And so far, I've gone every Tesla supercharger I've ever gone to with my car has just worked, and that's because it's a Tesla for a Tesla. I get it, And I've tried other 1772 chargers, and they work fine. The ChargePoint home charger I've got worked flawlessly. It really just maybe I'm just an isolated incident. Technically, the CCS2 charging should not work on my car, but I hacked it to do that. But it is what it is. I want, most of you who follow along here, Ted, Digital Warhead, Lady P, Walt, I'm trying to learn Rust. And I got this post from Mastodon, actually. This person, is learning Rust because, and I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a beginner's guide on learning how to use Rust. And, I've gotten lazy using Cloture or whatever this thing, and it's time for me to learn something new. And I was like, okay, great. Immediately turned off to this because they were like, oh, yeah, I'm going to write a simple but non-trivial program, a console-based tree viewer. And I'm like, seriously? So I've been trying to, because Lady P's been here and Walt has too when I learned Golang. At some point I learned enough Golang and it's like, what do I do with it? And then I realized, well, I need to build something with it. The problem is it's easy to learn. The application is the hard part for me. So I'm trying to figure out, before I go any further with Rust, what I could do to build something in Rust. And again, this shows that I don't have the mentality of a programmer, because it's like, I don't see the point in building the wheel again, which kind of sucks. Somebody was like, what was it? Well, I might as well go into Mastodon right now as it is, because Mastodon. Might as well go to Mastodon because it screwed up my audio before. Maybe it'll unscrew it up again. So somebody had said, hey, I'm learning these things, and I said, hey, the biggest problem I have is getting Mastodon to load. Apparently, let me see, where is my home? Anyway, somebody said, hey, you should set up a blogging engine, because that would be a good way of learning something. And I was like, I don't even know how to do that. So one of the things that I'm trying to figure out how to do is, how to develop software, because I don't write software. So, I've if you Google search for how to develop software, there's like 8 tips for this, or there's listicles out the ass on how to do these things. And get started. First thing you need to do is install Rust, and it cannot be easier. Well, you download the toolchain installer. It's similar to NVM project, commonly used by JavaScript. Okay, great. There needs to be like so you want to learn how to build a program or something like that. There's a lot of different ways of doing that. I was like, oh, I create the one thing I thought of like doing today was I was like, well, what's the simplest game that you could create? And the first thing I thought of was like Pong, like create Pong in Rust. So it's like boop, 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 boop. It's got the little eye, little dot that goes across, and it's kind of like table tennis for those young folk here that don't know what a Pong is. And so I was, trying to figure out, the thing is, okay, so let's say I create Pong in Rust. What's the process by which I start that? How do you decide how you're going to build something? I mean, I don't want to say I found a newfound respect for developers. Well, okay, I'll give them that. But how do you decide, okay, we're going to do this thing, and then how do you break that down? How do you am I going to have to build a UI? Am I going to have to build all these things, or can I just run dependency hell on it and just say, well, we're just going to throw a bunch of bits together and then compile and call it good? I don't know how to move towards that. It's like, okay, I need I want to make a cake, but I don't know the ingredients to build the cake, right? I don't know what kind of cake I want. I know I want a cake. I know I want a Pong game. I just don't know how I get the movement. I don't know how to get all those things, and I don't know if maybe maybe that's a little too far down. Maybe I need to, find something simpler. So, um, you know, my evenings when I'm not watching poker is trying to figure out what I could do simply that would be somewhat useful. So, um, running into that right now. So, yeah. So I mean, there's a multiplayer syncing server called Figma, command line client for a Sentry API. I guess it's like, oh, I could create an API. I tried doing that in Python, and it was like, dependency hell. And then it was like, oh, let's try that in Go. And then we did the W3 Schools version, and that was less complicated, but it still required a lot of dependencies. And I don't think you can program these days without having dependencies. So that's just something I'm gonna have to get used to learning. So are we learning yet? Ripe for experimentation, but the ecosystem isn't complete yet. Clustering, data processing, data structures, decision trees, GPU computing. Wow. I don't have the wherewithal to get all that yet. There we go. Building a game engine with Rust. Okay. Woo, who got Berber down the Rust train? Woot woot. I don't know, Beta Wolf. Why don't you tell me who did that? I can buy Rust books if I need them. Rust has a book, so the Rust book. My problem is yeah, see, so I mean, they, understanding ownership, you've got control flows, managing growing projects with packages, crates, and modules. Does the Rust book is fantastic. I just bought some books and they're pretty neat. Rust books. There's Rust programming from No Starch. There's programming in Rust. Rust has probably one of the best how-to books. I could see that. So the issue is this tells you how to program with Rust, but there's a before step, right? This tells you how to take all the ingredients and put it together and make the cake. My thing is I don't know how to get started with the thing I want to make. And I don't know if that's at the core of software development. It's like, okay, now you have a team and you've got other people who are more savvy about a programming language than you, and they go, oh, well, all we need to do is X, Y, and Z. And, all we have to do is exactly. So, as the junior developer in a team with 4 other people, it would be like, I don't know what I need to do. And then be like, here, take this and, build this UI. And it's like, well, okay, how do I build a UI? So that's my thing. It's like, how do I build those things? How do I get those things moving? So I have the command line Rust that plus learning TypeScript are super helpful in getting around the type system in Rust. Maybe I'm not explaining it well enough. Building an I/O project, building a command line program. This chapter is a recap of the many skills you've learned so far and exploration of a few standard library features. We'll build a command line tool that interacts with file and command line to practice some of the Rust concepts you now have under your belt. Rust speed, safety, and single binary output and cross-platform support make it an ideal language for creating command line tools. So for our project, we'll make our own version of the classic command line tool grep. Okay, so maybe it's not a prejudice. It's like why the hell would I want to build another Nmap in Rust or something like that? At work, I have people, and this is a problem we have with our organization where we have silos. And in every silo, we have people who don't communicate with one another. And that's indicative of any organization, not just ones that are large. Anytime you get, teams that, are a bit possessive, or you get teams that, have their sandbox and they don't want people to play in it. You get silos, and you get people who build their own things because, this team isn't being cooperative, so I'm going to go build my own thing. And then you have two of those things. And that's where the whole 927 issue came about with XKCD. No, I appreciate Beta Wolf. You're excited about the books you got. There are no shortage of good books out there. No Starch Press. You got Wiley. You got all those folks. Some people write better than others. And so, you run into, let me duplicate this tab. And so you got Rust books. The other issue I have is with any book like 2018, that might as well be a lifetime in Rust programming language. These books are going to go outdated pretty damn quickly. We've seen that with Golang. It was like some of the examples I was using was like, oh yeah, you use 0.09, or 0.9, Golang. And it was like, well, we're up to 1.7 now, and that breaks things because there was a major change between then. It was like, shit. So yeah, here's 14, 15 different books for Rust programming language, Rust for Rustations in 2021. Maybe that one would be pretty good. Rust web programming, hands-on developing, packaging, and deploying fully functional Rust web apps. Okay, that's in 2023, so there's one. I don't know how specific it would be, but it's in paperback. You can get all three together. The command line Rust, project-based programmer for writing Rust CLIs. So Beta Wolf, who kind of told me that it's supposed to be backward compatible. That's the only thing where I was like, 2018 you might be okay, but that's a 5-year-old Rust book. You got to tell me that there's been some changes in Rust that maybe won't work everywhere here. The other issue I've had, and I learned this with like PHP when I was trying to learn PHP. They're developers first, right? So they don't think about code in that respect. So you have, you might find security vulnerabilities in the code, or something like that. Like way back in the day, I was learning the PHP language for some web app stuff, and they were like, yeah, I use global variables everywhere. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, the changes will be, this is a better way to do it than we used to. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, try to find something that's within the last year, especially if you're learning, programming languages, and commit yourself to it. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. So, far be it from me. I'm going to, hands-on microservices. Okay. But so with Rust, you have to learn the basics. And I think we talked a little bit about that with, in a different vein with Jay Beal on Kubernetes. And it was a tweet that Ian Coldwater had mentioned, and they said, a way to learn Kubernetes, you do need to know some Linux. You do need to, have some idea on how to use Linux for Kubernetes, and then learn the security orchestration afterwards. In this way with Rust, you're doing that too. It's like you have to learn all these things. So, maybe I shouldn't complain so much about, there's yet another Rust. Because my thing was, it's like, if I want to, find Rust, why do I need to build Rust Nmap? Because there's already a Rust Nmap, right? So here's Rust Scan. So it's a port scanner for Rust. It's like, why should I build Rust again, or Rust Nmap or something like that? So you run into that issue where it's like, this has already been built by somebody. Maybe there's another way I can do it. Maybe there's a better way to do it. Maybe there's a more secure way of doing it. So maybe I should get over myself and not say, hey, there's already one there. Why should I build this? Run scripts through a scripting engine, Python, Lua, shell supported. Scans all 65,000 ports in 3 seconds. Wow, that's pretty nice. Full scripting engine support. Of course, I should also remember that there's many iterations of this, 3 years worth of work on this. And I guess I need to have a goal. So I need to figure out what the goal is going to be, and whether I want to open source this when I'm done. My first initial suggestion would be no, I should probably not open source this project because I don't want to have to deal with people with my code because I don't have time. So whatever I build will be mine and mine alone, and it is what it is. So I think I'm gonna go. I don't know why my audio blanked out or is like 3 seconds delayed, like a really, really bad Godzilla movie. I'm going to turn my video back on for a second. There I am. Hello. And so I'm going to turn it back off now. And yeah, I'm going to be taking Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, potentially. Hopefully Tuesday afternoon, I'll be able to get back on and hang out with you fine people. And until then, you know what? Let's go raid somebody. I really want to raid somebody. It's been a minute. And hopefully I'll have my brand new, my machine and everything. Many projects of the form, re-implement another program that are like playing an existing song on a new instrument. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Sid Heresy? That's a dog. It's a dog. Yeah, Sid Heresy. All right. Let's go raid Sid. Okay. What is going on here? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go now. You're going to watch Sid. He's going to be playing around on his circuit boards here. So everyone have a good day, and we'll see you all next week. Hopefully I will have my computer back and running and my machine, and we'll be able to make this happen. So we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.